Now, one professional who's trying to build generational wealth and is trying to do a very good job of it, but unfortunately is taking him time is Mr. Kyle Dubas.
Oh, I knew this one was coming.
So Kyle Dubas, listening to the episode, knows this is an insurance episode. Say, I'm smarter than you guys think, so I'm gonna beat the deadline, and I'm gonna mortgage some future assets, and I'm gonna get these teams to pick up most of the salaries. Bring me Ryan O'Reilly and bring me Noel Achari,
Achari, yeah.
like Atari but Achari.
Yeah.
That's how you remember it. So Noel Achari, Ryan O'Reilly make their way to Toronto, and I'm in Montreal watching WWE Elimination Chamber, one of the pay-per-views, having a grand old time. But the Canadians are not there because they decide to go to Toronto and they face off against the Leafs in Ryan O'Reilly's debut. And this was O'Reilly's now been there for 3 games as of this taping. And him and his line mates just absolutely slaughtered the Sabres.
Oh boy.
And the game should have been much more of a bigger spread than it was. And we'll get into that in a second. But first of all, Zach, I got to hear you hear this is coming down the pipeline. O'Reilly and Achari are coming to Toronto. Share with us your thoughts. And when you heard everything the way it went down, do you like this trade? And where are we at with O'Reilly?
So I definitely like the trade. Because I'm a hockey nerd and I'm way too invested in hockey. I was reading, just like we do in here and how I prepare for this. I was reading all of the speculation, and the idea of Ryan O'Reilly was always a great one to me, right? He's an Ontario kid, a couple hours out away from Toronto. So he was definitely watching the Leafs growing up. He probably has some picture of him in his Toronto Maple Leaf pajamas as a kid too. He is
notice who the line mate was.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what he is. He's literally Tavares 2.0, just bigger and stronger. And he's got that championship pedigree, which you gotta love. And he is 150,000% an insurance policy for Tavares and or even Matthews at this point. Very versatile, and he's not afraid to throw his weight. Right? He's not going to go throw haymakers or punches, but he'll get in there and one of my favorite things, the first game I watched him, he finishes his checks. He plays the body. Thank you. Okay. So I was very happy with that trade. I was hoping it was going to happen. I know a lot of people weren't happy with Ryan O'Reilly because he's having a down year, but so many circumstances mitigating his down year that's I couldn't even consider it. And he's going to come with the Leafs like he already has now in game 2, 3, and he's just going to light it up. That line is going to be first line pedigree, no question. So very happy with that.
So Edmonton calls you up and says, okay, we're really liking what Marner and O'Reilly are doing here with Tavares. So we'll take those 3. We'll give you Draisaitl. We'll give you McDavid. Do you make that trade?
Yeah.
Okay. Just double checking.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
No.
But okay. But the other couple of things which really, excite me also. Former captain.
Yeah.
And Conn Smythe winner, right?
Yeah.
This guy did it on the biggest stage.
Absolutely.
He still remembers it very clearly. He can walk the rest of his teammates through this, especially about how to win an opening round. So on many levels, I think this is if your whole team is filled with O'Reillys, I think you're really, really happy. It sounds like this is a fit on every possible level. This is awesome.
I love it. He's also a major face-off guy, which at the end of the day, any hockey coach will tell you, if you win the face-off, you control the play right from the get-go, and having the puck is a lot easier to play with than not having the puck. So that's a great thing. But I don't want anybody to undervalue what Noel Achari brings, because I've been watching this guy play. I watched him play in Florida. I'm pretty sure he played for Boston. And I know he's just started playing a stint now with St. Louis before he came over here to Toronto. But he is going to be so important for us, especially coming down the line. God willing, we get past the first round. He's going to be so important. He's major depth, another physical presence, defensively, just a coach's dream. So he's going to be huge. Like you guys watch, mark my words. All right, Noel Achari is going to be a major influence in the Leafs taking on further depth in the playoffs this year.
So we like this move on a lot of levels. What about what was given up? How was put structured together? I gotta say, for what you picked up, you didn't give up Matthew Nyes. You got salary picked up because salary is very important in the salary cap era. I think that Dubas did as best as he could to get the value of what he got for today. I don't know what's going to come in the offseason, but for today
I
and into the
agree.
playoffs, I think you have to make this move every day of the week.
I agree. I think, listen, the reality is that they got rid of a first, second, and third. Essentially, they got a third back from Minnesota for some cap, and I don't, I don't love the idea of giving up a first, second, and a third, but it's like Duba said, and it's just like, we practice in real life. Bird in the hand is better than two in the bush, right? You know what you're getting with Ryan O'Reilly. You know what you're getting with Noah Chari. You know that there is a very strong chance that you lose two or three players by the end of the next 2 years, two, three of your major players by the end of the next 2, 3 years. Just because contracts are going to be renegotiated. And clearly, some of the Leafs are selfish enough to ask for as much money as they did to begin with, and don't really care about franchising or not franchising, about screwing franchise future by asking for $11.5 million every year. So you take what you get with him right now, with them right now, and on top of that, it's like you said, they have sure things in Niemela and Nyes to a certain extent. And so the fact that they were able to keep those two, which are really, really key, a couple of the Finns that as well, that are really good hockey players. We got a Russian goalie too that's on the up and up. The fact that you were able to keep all of those players is amazing. And on top of that, you didn't give up a roster player. And the roster players are here for the real big move, right? Like everybody thought that Ryan O'Reilly and Achari are going to be the big one. I don't even think that's going to be the biggest move Dubas makes. So we got news today. If you had a second to check your phone, Muzzin's done. He's not playing the rest of the year, not playing the rest of the playoffs. As far as he's concerned, his career is probably over, which means that is a major hole right there that they need to fill. And if you ask me, it's a number one D, a number one or two D at the least, because Ryan O'Reilly. See, this is going to get confusing now. Morgan Riley is in no way, shape, or form a number one defenseman.
Well, that's a handful there. So first of all, O'Reilly and Achari, are they going to be back next year with the Leafs? What's your gut on that? Because originally Dubas said, I'm not getting rentals, but then it's also I'm not getting rentals by giving up major pieces. So he did not give up those major pieces. So he went with the rental. But what is your gut feeling? Will one or both of those guys be back next season?
I I wouldn't be too sure about Achari. I think that he's really going to show his value in the playoff run this year, and he's going to want excessive money. Ryan O'Reilly, Dubas already said, in his press conference, we're not going to talk about that. We need to see how he fits with the team, how he meshes with everybody, blah, 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 blah. I see him coming back. I would venture to say that he left St. Louis going, oh, I'm for sure going to be back in St. Louis next year, no problem. And I am confident enough that within the next week, he's going to be texting his wife saying, start looking for houses in Toronto. Her family's here, his family's here. He grew up outside of the city. It's the mecca of hockey, like he says, and he's really going to enjoy playing here. And I think he'll be able to sign at a team friendly as well, just because he's made a whole bunch of money in his career, and he's got the Stanley Cup. So
if I was Dubas, I would bring my players and their agents for a field trip, take them down to Boston, have them watch the Bruins, and understand why they're able to do what they did, because they all became a team and did it for the team and had to take hits for the team. But that's how you keep all your players together, and that's how you get to succeed together and gel together. And Boston's been very good at that. And I agree with you. What you're saying, if we had unlimited money, it's not an issue. But when you have a cap and you want to stay and you want to win, but you want the maximum amount of money, well, you have a choice in life. You can go make the maximum amount of money and go play in Columbus, or you can play in Toronto. So that's things to think about. So my sources told me the same thing on Muzzin for a while, and Dubas came out and said, look, he's got a young family, got to think about his health long term. He's done. So we're going to say bye to Muzzin. It's fine. Luke Shen has his bags packed by the door, ready to go at any moment now. Is he heading back to Toronto? What's the scoop there? No, not Shen.
I don't think so. I think the Leafs already have a poor man's version of Shen and Jordy Ben, or maybe even an equivalent version of him and Jordy Ben. I don't think they need another Luke Shen. They need a number one defenseman. It's like everybody says, or at least you can see now with the Leafs in the Ryan O'Reilly trade. The second you slot someone up higher, it pushes everybody else down, right? So everybody's screaming for depth. Well, you can create depth as an externality of an actual top trade. You bring Ryan O'Reilly into the mix. Next thing you know, you have Kerfoot, Engvall, and or Yarnmark on, or Yarncroke, Yarnmark. You have Kylie Yarncroke down on the third, fourth line. Okay. So now you've just already improved your depth. I think that they need a difference maker, a serious difference maker in their top four defense.